right, guys, Magic Spoon is here to reinvent your morning routine with high protein, keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, wheat-free, and naturally flavored breakfasts. This is cereal with 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and just 4 to 5 net grams of carbs per serving. Plus, their treats are just 1 gram of sugar, 11 to 12 grams of protein, and 1 to 2 grams of net carbs. Talk about starting your day on the right foot. There are flavors like cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, maple waffle, blueberry muffin, birthday cake, cinnamon roll. Need I go on? With Magic Spoon's 100% happiness guarantee. If you do not love it, they will give you your money back, no questions asked. Click the link below, scan the QR code, or go to magicspoon.com/Chael. Use my promo code Chael. That will save you $5 when you build your very own custom box. And hey, Canadian and British pals, they've got you covered too. Breakfast just got a whole lot more exciting, courtesy of Magic Spoon. Nate Diaz, George Masvidal, I imagine. So, guys go out and fight. I don't want to take for granted that, they go out and they do a boxing match. It was awesome. Oh, I enjoyed it. This was the best influencer or celebrity, however you want to categorize this. Best boxing match I've seen. Now set that statement aside. This was one of the most fun boxing matches I've ever seen. Truly. This was awesome. And both guys, man. I got this back and forth with Masvidal. He showed so much grit. He was digging deep. He was going to the body. He was standing southpaw. I mean, it was awesome. Diaz was doing Diaz. Man, he was coming out winning the first round. He usually gets a slower start. Like, both of these guys look great. And the punch count was over 1,000. Over 1,000 between them. Diaz was 600 and some. And Masvidal was 500 and so. So right there, we got over 1,100. That's a lot of punches. That's a lot of punches. And that's a lot of preparation to be able to throw those punches. If you were to jump up right now and you had a heavy bag, right? You can't just do the air. You got to. But if you were to hit a heavy, boom, take a break, boom, take a break, boom. I mean, go nice and easy, boom. Go nice and easy, take a break, boom, boom, boom. But don't stop until you throw 1,100 punches. And you will understand how incredibly difficult it is to do. And in all fairness, you won't be able to do it. Even if you touch that bag 1,100 times, okay, they're not going to all look the same, which means you can't do it. Well, let's say you were to get yourself to where you could do it. How long would it take you? Do it in a month? Could you do it in a week? Could you do it on your own? Would you need private training? Would you need road work? Would you need stairs? Would you need to lift weights? Like, what all would you need to do so that you could be in shape to do that, however hard that is, 1,100 times, right? It turns into this. We're not playing the same game. I'm sharing you. I'm trying to prove a point. That this fight was so great, and the effort and the output was so great, aside from the entertainment, which was fantastic, that those dudes had to work their asses off to be able to do that. Period. Not to mention, neither one has ever done it. Nate's fight with Jake Paul was 8 rounds, just to remind you. So now you're doing a half of an hour in a sport that you haven't, I can't even tell you. It really was a tremendous job by these guys, which does add to the fact that now we're seeing that Nate is suing Fanmio? Is that what their name is? And they were apparently the promoter of the event. Now, I must tell you, I've actually been wondering that. I wondered who the promoter of this event was. And Masvidal apparently has Gamebred something, MMA. And Nate got a level of promotion going. So when these guys came together, I have always wondered, was that Nate's deal and was that George's deal, or are these guys footing the bill? Did they have somebody else? I've just never known that. Well, apparently we have our answer. It's an organization called Fanmio. So they go out and do the fight. I mean, this fight just happened. I just did Cowboy and Jolo. I felt like it was this weekend. Am I wrong? It was the previous weekend. It just happened. There's already a lawsuit filed. I mean, to get that paperwork, to get things in order, to threaten or go to PR, to actually get to the courts and get it done, I mean, this was like record time. And it was done by Nate's side, which is why I shared with you that I assume Masvidal as well. I assume Masvidal's paperwork is coming. But the story goes something along these lines. Nate was guaranteed $10 million. And I can only say Nate because George hasn't gone yet. I imagine they're very similar, but if I'm trying to tell the story as accurately as I can, Nate was guaranteed $10 million. Now, you would have pay-per-view and you would have bonuses on top of that. You might even have a live gate merchandise. Depends what industry you're in. That would be unusual for this, but pay-per-view would be very common. So you would be given your guarantee. Here's guarantee what I'm going to get, and then we're going to be partners, however that works. Whether I'm keeping 90%, you guys are getting 5%, or whether there's a pool of 10 and you split that 80-20, like that, that's all part of the discussion, but very common within the boxing industry for the main events of the pay-per-views to participate. I'm telling you what you already know. But the guarantee is what you have to go off of. I mean, this can be a slippery slope, right? I mean, this is definitely a situation of the greater fool. I love cryptocurrency, but as of right now, one fool buys it and sells it to a greater fool. It has no utility. I only share that with you. How FanMio is going to come in with no history and no background, no numbers to show and or support, and convince Nate and George to fight is very easy when you find out the guarantee was absurd. And we will never stop doing that in this business. Never. Boxing exists. And this is quite literally, this includes amateurs. Boxing exists because you constantly can find somebody who's going to lose money. Whether he's willing to lose it to be associated with the tough guy business, and there's a lot of that out there. There's some real big money in that. That's great. Or it's somebody that doesn't know he's going to lose it. It'll be some kind of a money guy that somebody else sat down, put them together, got him to put up the money. But I have to share this with you because before you're going to get Diaz versus Masvidal, which already sold out Madison Square Garden, which has a history, which is two of the sport's biggest stars, before you're going to get them to go out there and do that, you're going to take them on a 4-city media tour. It's a big deal. It's a big deal because it's very uncommon. And again, let's go to Nate, who filed this suit. George enjoys the media and the press conferences. I can relate to that. Nate doesn't. So when you're going to take him to Vegas and then you're going to run him to California and you're going to take him to Miami and you're going to take him to New York, like if you're going to do that, before we go and do that, which is all an attempt for you to recoup and get a return on your investment, which now I'm serving you, which is great. We're working together here. But before I go and do that, right, I can't commit to doing the fight all on the come line. I just can't. So if I'm going to take a leap of faith on the come line, I can't go do this 4-city media tour and go through a whole training camp and pay all these guys and make all these commitments. I got to have something from you up front. Great. That's where signing bonus comes in. And the less, I'm sharing this with you guys, the less reputable that an organization is, the bigger the signing bonus. That would make sense to you, right? And that even FanMio would look at that and go, hey, we haven't done this before. We understand we're going to have to pay a little bit more up front. Now, we got this great idea, and it's a pay-per-view model. We believe in you two. We've tested the market a little bit, and we're getting really good vibes. So we're going to cut you in, but we're going to guarantee you $10 million. Now, I just have to share with you, that's absurd. That would be unheard of. Now, none of us, right? We'd all be right there, but that would be, I mean, I'm telling you, shocking, and I'm taking into consideration that Masvidal got the same thing. So now you're talking about a guarantee of $20 million just to your main event. There would be no standard within our industry that would meet. It would be absurd, but it is how you get it. Right, you come to the table, you go, hey, I got an idea. I need you to believe on me. I need to get my name out there. I'm going to lose, but I'm going to chalk this up to the marketing. It's a long-term play. If you do not have chess, you don't have anything sustainable in this business. And very few people do. And even the people that do, it's a tough industry. I get that. But if you're holding an event and you don't make that a commercial for your next event, you are done. And that's real easy to see. Did you sit somebody in the front row? Right? The only fight out there for George Masvidal is Chael Sonnen. I'm not putting myself in it. I'm sharing with you. Did you fly Chael in and did you put him in the front row? And did you dangle a carrot in front of everybody, including Chael, who would have come out there and done it for free, thinking he was going to get the fight, would have jumped in the ring, would have built something like that? Did you do that or not? If you did, whether you get the show or not, if you did, you've now done this industry for what you're supposed to do, which is every event is a commercial. Did you watch Francis versus Tyson? If you did, you're one of the 10,000 people who did. But that was nothing more than a commercial for Tyson versus Usyk. And while Francis versus Tyson bombed, Usyk versus Tyson was a success. I mean, I'm trying to share with you, this is how you know if somebody has longevity. This is how you know if somebody has legs. So if somebody has longevity and somebody has legs and somebody is playing this kind of a game, they're bringing someone in, they're putting them in the front row, they're trying to get something to go, whether it goes or not. They're looking for next time. This is a commercial for that. If they're doing that, they actually have an industry here. It's a very important thing to look for as a fighter. If they don't do that, it's okay to do business with them. You take a big signing bonus and you get a big guarantee. And that is exactly what Nate and company did, which is exactly what they should have done. But it would have to be understood by all parties, and you'd have to vet this pretty hard. You have the money. You can back this. I'm not guaranteeing you. You're guaranteeing me. Do we understand? And on the piece of the pie that we're sharing, because you're the one fronting the money and I'm putting up the work, you're taking the biggest piece of the pie. But we all understand this is what we're agreeing to. It's an important thing to understand, and it's an important thing to vet. Because that kind of money is not coming in on that kind of an event. So you have to know, does this person at least believe they're going to have other events? If they don't, if I find out they don't, if there's not a fight on this card that draws into each other, if there's not somebody in the crowd like Usyk in the front, like none of this makes sense, and if this doesn't make sense, and you think you're all going to hit it tonight, you think you're going to hit this big home run tonight, you found a guy with some money, and like most people in boxing, they found some guy that comes in with a suit, tells them a whole bunch of lies and promises, shows them some numbers, tells you they got some expert in pay-per-view, of which there are none, anywhere in the world, just to save you in future. You gotta know. You gotta know going in that he's got the money. Now, somewhere within this, they pay Nate that night, which is a standard of our industry. You're paid your guarantee that night. If you're with Dana White, if you're a Scott Coker, just by example, you get out of the ring, you have a check in your hand. Not you get out of the ring, you cool down, and Chael's exaggerating. No. You get out of the ring. The moment you pass through the curtain to where the audience no longer sees you, you're sweating, you're not to your locker room, you're walking, you're bleeding, it could be the case. You have a check in your hand. That would be your guarantee. Now, if you were in on the pay-per-view, that's going to come in on what's called the drip, which means it's going to come in for several months. Even though it's mainly that night, there's still numbers that come in and it comes out on the drip. You get paid when they get paid. I'm just sharing the industry standard for you. So that night, Nate's supposed to get a $10 million check. They hand him a $1 million check. That's why he sued them. It's not, hey, let's wait, let's bill you in 30 days. The deal was tonight. But I got to tell you, if you have a $10 million gig, the only thing the athletic commission is doing is holding the money. Now, you got to make sure you understand that. They ain't going to hang their hat on fighter safety and all that. Good for them. Good for them. Enjoy your industry. The only thing they're doing for you, the fighter, you don't give a goddamn if the guy wraps his hands. You don't care if he cheats on the scale. Of course, I'm exaggerating. The only thing you care and you're counting on them is to hold the money. And they're going to hold it with government assurance of something called a surety bond. So whether the promoter's got it or not, you're going to be guaranteed against it, and you, the fighter, aren't going to have to be the one that goes and collects it. The government's going to do it for you to make sure this guy paid, at least in theory. So if a guy's got $10 million that he owes you, and he's telling you that it's held, you don't do that on an LOI. You make him put it in the bout agreement so that the government will do the only thing you want them to do, which is guarantee your money. That part of it, there was risks that were taken. We've all done that. We've all done that as fighters, man. You've got to be working with somebody whose word is good. And now it's getting a little slippery. Nate came out and said, you paid me $1 million, you owed me 10. Fan Mio came out and said, we've already paid you 7 figures, right? Which is really funny, because that's what Nate said. They just changed it from $1 million to 7 figures. It was great. They were like defiant on it. It's one of those spots. Right, I mean, there is a lot of verbal things that happen in this industry, and we do all trust each other. And if you short one fighter, the whole industry will know tomorrow, lawsuit or not, the whole industry will know tomorrow, and you will no longer be in the business, which largely is the checks and balances that keeps it above board. And there's only one red flag, like for a lesson moving forward. When you look at something and you know this is above the industry standard, but there's good reason that somebody with money that wants to break in the industry would do it. For example, they have the 2 biggest stars in the sport, which they did. They sold out this was a big deal. A lot of things were done really well, but you have to know, does this guy that's telling me he's got the money, is he counting on getting it that night? Because there's no chance of recouping that kind of money. Or does he know it's a long-term play and he's chalking this up to marketing? And you find that out, the litmus test for that, you don't ask him, the litmus test is, what do we do from here? Do you have me under a multi-fight contract? Because if I'm your main event and you don't, then no matter what you tell me, I know that you don't have a plan for tomorrow. Unless I am the B-side greatly and I get word from Masvidal that he's under a multi-fight contract. But if neither one of us is, so it doesn't matter what happens in your main event, you don't have a plan for later and you don't have either of us under contract, you know it's a one-night cash grab. And if you ever know that, you don't count them to say they have the money. If they've got the money in an account, you put it into the bout agreement and you make the government do the only thing you care that they do. Guarantee your money.